Welcome everyone. Today we will discuss about some in-text questions. So question number 1 is, why is sodium kept immersed in kerosene oil? So this we discussed when we were discussing about reaction of different metal samples with air. In that we discussed when sodium or potassium kept open in the air, then it will react with air, and the reaction of sodium with air is so violent in nature that it will catch fire also. So that is why, to protect it, or you can say to prevent this accidental fires, we are storing sodium or potassium immersed in kerosene oil. The other way also is to store these metal is to wrap in paraffin wax. Now question number 2 is, write equations for the reactions of first iron with the steam, second calcium and potassium with water. So these chemical equations, it is already given in your book, but still let us understand. So first one is iron with steam. So before this, you should understand that steam, water and ice, they are having similar chemical formula, which is H2O. The thing is, when you are using steam, so you have to specify it, whether specify it. So you are having two methods. First method is to write the physical state, like if you are using steam, then H2O, beside H2O you can write G, which shows gaseous state. The other method is that when you are writing H2O, below that you can also write steam if you are not writing physical state. So any of the method you can apply, but you need to show that here H2O is steam, because at room temperature we know that H2O means water. So whenever H2O means water, then in that case it's optional whether if you want to show the physical state you can show, or if you don't want then you can leave also, because it is understood that at room temperature H2O means water. But if it is ice or if it is steam, then in that case you need to show it. So first one is iron with steam. Now iron is a metal, that means it is an element. So to show iron we will simply use its symbol. So here the chemical equation will be Fe plus H2O, and you have to show that H2O is steam, and you are getting iron oxide and also you are getting hydrogen. Now here the formula of iron oxide is Fe3O4. Now see, as iron is having two different valencies, that means it is showing variable valency. That is why you will find that somewhere the formula of iron oxide is Fe2O3 and somewhere it is Fe3O4. So these things you have to remember, that when iron is reacting with which compound and then what kind of iron oxide you are getting, this thing you have to remember. The explanation is there, but that is in higher class like 12th and all. So that is why for now you have to remember this. So in this case the formula of iron oxide is Fe3O4, and the chemical equation for this is also given in your book. So in the topic of reaction of metals with water. Then second one is calcium and potassium with water. Now we know that calcium, potassium, sodium, these are highly reactive in nature, especially potassium and sodium. So potassium, it reacts with cold water, and calcium reacts with water at room temperature. So here calcium and potassium, when they are reacting with water, then you are not getting their oxide, but you are getting hydroxide. That means potassium when reacts with water, you will get potassium hydroxide, and when calcium reacts with water, you will get calcium hydroxide. The equations for these reactions, it is also given in your book. There you can definitely refer also. So this is very easy also, like the reaction of metals with air and reaction of metals with water. So there you will find, and that we have already discussed. So you will also find some sort of general chemical equations, that when metal react with oxygen, that means air, so you are getting metal oxide, and when metal reacts with water, some cases when the metal is highly reactive in nature like sodium, potassium, calcium or even magnesium, in that cases these metals, they are reacting with water. It can be cold, it can be tap water, it can be hot water. In case of magnesium, then you are getting metal hydroxides. But metals like aluminium or iron, they are reacting with steam, and in that case you are not getting hydroxide, but you are getting their oxides. Now the next question is, samples of four metals A, B, C and D were taken and added to the following solution one by one. The results obtained have been tabulated as follows. Now such type of questions, it is logical it is conceptual based, and it is easy also to solve if you know. So here this question is, but you can see from the table only that this question, it is based on displacement reaction. So just have to understand that what kind of reaction here it is taking place, which they have shown in the form of table. And such type of questions you will usually get in pre-board exams and board exams. So as you can see that here, what first of all, what is given? So first of all, you are having 4 metal samples A, B, C, and D, and you are also having 4 metal salt solution. As you can see, iron second sulfate FeSO4, copper second sulfate CuSO4, zinc sulfate ZnSO4, and silver nitrate AgNO3. So these are the 4 solutions of metal salts are given, and 4 different metal samples you are having, which is A, B, C, and D. And you can see that when metal A, now what this table is showing, first you should understand, you should know how to read this table. So metal A, when it is reacting with iron second sulfate, then no reaction is taking place. But when this same metal is reacting with copper second sulfate, then displacement reaction is taking place. So according to this, we can easily say that metal A is more reactive than copper, and that is why it is able to show displacement reaction with copper. Then metal B, in this for metal B, you can see that it is showing displacement reaction with iron second sulfate, and it is not showing any reaction with zinc sulfate. That means metal B definitely is more reactive than iron. Metal C, it is not showing any reaction with iron second sulfate, not even with copper second sulfate or zinc second sulfate, but it is showing displacement reaction with silver nitrate, which means that this metal C is more reactive than silver. Metal D, it is not showing reaction with any of these 4 metal salt solution. That means this metal D, it is less reactive than whatever it is given. It can be less reactive than silver also, as among these 4 metal solutions, silver is the one which is having least reactivity, or it can also be silver. Any of the case can happen. So that you need to understand on the basis of this table. So to understand, if you want, you can also refer to the reactivity series. The more you will practice questions based on reactivity series, the easier for you it will be to remember reactivity series. It's not difficult at all. So this is about the table, and you can see that some of the questions are also given. Use the table above to answer the following questions about metals A, B, C, and D. Which is the most reactive metal? What would you observe if B is added to a solution of copper second sulfate? Arrange the metals A, B, C, and D in the order of decreasing reactivity. So 3 simple questions are given based on this table. You just try to understand according to the reactivity series which metal is more reactive than the other, like A, B, C, and D. The answer should also be in the same form of A, B, C, and D. And you should first try to answer it by yourself, and tomorrow we will be discussing about it for sure. But at least first try to understand how to read this table, how to answer questions based on this table, and you will get the answer if you will try. Otherwise, if you are having any confusion, tomorrow we will be discussing these questions, and apart from these, 2 more questions are also given, so those questions we will also be discussing. Thank you.